Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Sinead Says Podcast. We're actually in my home bedroom right now, and I'm at home for a wedding. So you are propped up on a chair and 4 books, the camera, and I'm using a little on-the-go podcast situation here. So hopefully everything is fine. I've tested it. It feels fine, so hopefully it's grand. But today we're going to talk about getting out of a rut. I feel like everyone needs this little short podcast to just have when they're feeling in a rut, because everyone actually does go through these little moments of little episodes that we have no motivation, we're kind of feeling a bit numb, we're feeling a bit overwhelmed, and sometimes we just need a little podcast that will shake us out of that rut and give us a few helpful, easy steps to do that. So that's what this podcast is all about. Firstly, we're going to talk about the sponsor of the podcast, which is BetterHelp. BetterHelp is an online therapy platform which has been amazing for me and also very supportive if you're in a rut. You can tell the difference between rut, depressive episodes. The therapist can help you through that. If you're going through a period of like negative cycles of negative thoughts, and sometimes you just get into that real rut, therapy is just so helpful to just give you tools. And once you have those tools, you can use them in every single time you have a little rut, because we have ruts here and there. Different things happen to us in life, come knock us down. But if we have the tools and resilience that we get from therapy, then we can easily come out of these ruts. Do you know what I mean? So if you would like to try therapy and have that support, you can use betterhelp.com/Sinead. That is betterhelp.com/Sinead, and that will get you 10% off your first month. So let's get into it. Basically, I got into a little bit of rut, and that is totally normal. Okay, guys, like getting into ruts when things happen in your life is a totally normal thing. It is like how we get out of those and how we can recognize them, because personally myself, when I got into a rut years ago, prior to self-development therapy, all the stuff, I just let that rut go and go and go, to the point where I probably had really high anxiety, I had really bad sleep, and it was everything, all that stuff that was happening was affecting my everyday life, and it just kept going. But when we have tools and we have things set up, then they can use it to help, because things are going to happen. We may or may not go into a rut, and we can come out of that rut. And that is why we're here today. So firstly, recognizing that you're in the rut. So if you are encountering negative thoughts about ourselves and they're kind of cycling in your head, and we're not doing the behavior and actions that would usually make us feel better. And that was me when I came out of the hospital there the other week. I was talking about it in the podcast last week that I was going to tell you about this. So obviously I went into a bit of a rut. I felt like I had really bad health anxiety. I felt like all my work that I had done in my gut was just gone, and I was really struggling with like just my illnesses that I already have, and I kind of just self-sabotaged myself, stopped doing all the things that made me feel good. I thought, what's the point? If I'm just going to go into hospital and like whatever. So I kind of went down that route. I also became really overwhelmed with work. I had guests come on for Sam's birthday as well. So I was, putting a lot of pressure on myself and not really enjoying my present moment, because I was so pressured at work and felt like a bit like I couldn't have told you what was good in my day, because I was just so overwhelmed with everything that I was trying to do, plus not really having any motivation to go to the gym, because I was completely using my dopamine receptors by like using my phone. I was going through like this negative loop cycle, and I was very aware of it. I knew I was kind of just indulging in that self-sabotage for a few weeks. So if you're recognizing that behavior, I think I wallowed in it, and then I was like, right, I need to get out of this, because obviously you'd be overwhelmed with like the feeling of anxiety, which doesn't help the situation. But the signs are low energy, low gratitude, as I said before, like being like, oh, I don't really have anything in my day, like having that, wanting to like drastically change your life, like me being like, oh, maybe I should move back to Bali. That was the kind of things that was going through my brain. Okay. Overwhelmed, but also feeling a bit numb, like the days are going really, really fast, and putting off everything. Putting off anything that is like, even like your chores, all that stuff, because you just wanted to like get out of your negative thoughts and just be on your phone and distract your anxious thoughts with like quick dopamine hits. That's quite a normal thing, which is another thing. It's called the anxiety distraction feedback loop. So when we're having anxiety, we are anxious thoughts, we distract ourselves with quick dopamine. So we will go on TikTok, we will eat junk food, we will drink alcohol. It's like you just want to get rid of the negative thoughts. But when we recognize this and we're like, right, okay, and you're becoming aware of how it feels in your body, then it's time to take action. But yeah, everything, I definitely feel like, every day you kind of just rolls into one. You're just going through a little bit of a cycle. Yeah, I just want to talk about like some of the things that helped me get out of my rut. I feel like I started coming out of it. Then I remember like the first day where I was like I felt like I could breathe. I remember I was really overwhelmed with work, and Sam's mom was here, and she was like, "Do you want to?" I really want to go whale watching, and I was like, "Oh my god, I have to record these podcasts and blah blah." I just felt really overwhelmed with work because I was trying to sort everything out as well, and also like getting really distracted with my phone, so not getting my work done. So it was kind of like this cycle that was happening, and I was like, "Oh my god, I don't know if I can do that." Anyway, she was like, that's fine. No, 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 you don't. And then I goes, no, you know what? I actually stayed up really late that night, like to 2 a.m., finished my work, finished my editing. And then I was like, I'm going to go because I feel like I need to get out of the same shit that I'm doing every single day, like trying to stay indoors so I can get all my work done, but not getting my work done. It was just like this cycle. So anyway, was like, you know what? I'm going to finish my work in the night, and went out, and I went whale watching. I got on this boat, and although I was a bit nauseous on the boat, I actually just took a breath and just seen something new. And I was like, as if I'm out here watching whales. And I just felt like I had just quickly, shook myself out of it because I felt like I was just in the same thing. And I needed that sense of nature and doing something different and just getting me out of that like norm. So if you're going through a bit of a rut and you're doing the same thing every day and it's this constant cycle, just booking something random and just getting out of your head. I think I did this one other time too when I was feeling like crap, and booked like a paint Prosecco day, or me and Sam did something like completely different out of our usual routine. And you're just like, I needed that, like to just breathe and just try something different and get out of that negative cycle. So that was something. And also as well, if you listen to my podcast on, I can't remember what it's called now, but basically I read this book and it was about how to have your life more memorable and how to stop, or how to make your life longer and stretch over time. And he talks about, he does all this research on how to slow down time and how to make your life more memorable. And there was that the brown shoe research. I think I said about it before, but anyway, they show these people brown shoes, and they show them these things, and they have to write down how much time they seen those objects for. So he just showed them brown shoe, and then all of a sudden he showed them an alarm clock, and they wrote down that the alarm clock was like such a long time, and that's because when it actually in fact was not, and the brown shoes were a lot longer. But because our mind adapts to things, everything's shorter. It's like, when you go for a walk for the first time ever, it seems so long, or a run, but then if you do that same route again, it seems a lot shorter. It's because our mind adapts. So if you want to shake up your life and make it longer, then that is such a good thing to do. You just try and do something new out of the ordinary, and that kind of shakes up your little rut that you're in. And the next thing I want to talk about is like dopamine, because I was talking about this in my story and someone was like, can you please explain that a bit more? Because when I came out of hospital, I was already sitting on my phone all day. I was sitting in a bed and nothing to do but be on my phone. So like my dopamine receptors were just completely done. They were worn out. So I thought I would just like talk about dopamine here, and about dopamine detox. And like for me, what was happening was, because I was in that like anxious loop a little bit, I then was just wanting to distract myself with that, with TikTok. Like honestly, TikTok was my thing. Anything, and like eating crap and all the stuff, like just quick dopamine, because it distracts you from the negative thoughts, but in fact over time makes you actually a lot worse because you feel bad for not doing the things that actually make you feel good. So when you recognize this pattern that you're doing, then it's time to like switch it up, have a little dopamine detox. And dopamine is such an important thing to learn about as well. So that's why I was like, I'll get the definition of dopamine up. Dopamine is a transmitter that plays a crucial role in motivation, reward, and pleasure, and it drives us to pursue activities that feel good or give us a sense of achievement. However, not all sources of dopamine are good. So obviously those quick dopamine, anything that's quick, just remember that that's not going to serve you. Obviously in moderation, like obviously we love our quick dopamines, but like doing it all the time can sometimes max out our receptors and make us need more of that in order to be entertained and to be motivated. So you'll notice that like you'll just want more TikTok. If you've started with TikTok, you want more Instagram because you started with that, and because it's already depleting your dopamine receptors, you just need more of it in order to feel that dopamine again. Whilst like you need a constant drip of dopamine, which in a book I read, they call it, the difference is like dumb dopamine, which is like the quick dopamine. So that's like on your phone. And then things like meditation, reading, working out, anything that's like something that you usually don't want to do, like reading, something that feels hard to do, but has this delayed gratification. Like meditation is always something that like is so amazing for your dopamine receptors, or you're so amazing for your dopamine, because as soon as you do meditation in the morning, like, you know, sitting down with your thoughts and sitting down to do that is difficult. So afterwards you're just so filled with this like constant drip of dopamine, and that like really helps you throughout the day, motivate you to do other things, because you know how good it feels to do something hard. So then like you're more inclined and more motivated to do that throughout the day. So that's why I always meditate. Everyone's like, what's the best time to meditate? And I'm like, for me in the morning, because if I go on my phone or do anything else, it's very hard for me to do like an everyday chore, because I just feel like that doesn't give me enough dopamine to go throughout to do. So that's why meditation, as soon as I open my eyes after meditation, whether it's like being, because obviously every meditation is completely different. Like sometimes you just don't get what you got the day before or whatever, but every day is a very different experience. But you always feel the sense of achievement. The same with reading, the same with working out. Like you don't want to get up and work out most of the time. You want to just stay in your bed, but like when you do that, you're just filled in with this constant drip of dopamine, which is the good stuff, and that will really help. If you're already in this like negative loop with your dopamine, you need to have a little dopamine detox. I personally love a dopamine detox. I actually did it in, remember I was telling you I was with Sam's mom. We went to Noosa, he was in the triathlon, and I said, when I get there, I am turning off my phone. And I deleted all my apps, and obviously I have to keep my WhatsApp in case people need to contact me, but I just deleted all my apps. And then I just really enjoyed my time with my boyfriend on his 30th birthday, and I came back refreshed, because we have that constant habit, right, of picking up your phone, but we don't actually have any intention. We're in a habit. Like we don't actually need to do something. We just need that dopamine. So we're like, oh, let's check if I've got any notifications. Let's check. Then we get into this horrible habit, and it's just constantly picking it up. Whereas if you do your detox, whether it's for a day, 2 days or whatever, even if you just go out for a walk without your phone and just try and do something small, like especially in the morning, obviously, just try a little dopamine detox, delete your apps, delete your Instagram or your TikTok, anything that kind of gives you that quick, and just try to fill it with something else, for especially in the morning. Like, you know, if you're not a meditator, which I hope you are, and obviously you can join the Brave Way with code meditate. We have a whole app full of meditations that will be very good for your dopamine. So yeah, you can read, you can work out. There's loads of things that you can do for that, and also doing something new, doing something creative will also help you with that situation. Yeah, dopamine detox and just reset yourself will. So when I came back from my dopamine detox, didn't want to pick up my phone as much because I had already fallen out of the habit. Because when even you delete all your apps and you do a dopamine detox, you're picking up your phone thinking you're going to get it, but that's not because your intention was to go on Instagram. You're unconsciously picking it up. Like I consciously know that I deleted those apps, but I unconsciously picked it up to look on Instagram. So then like you start to get into a better pattern, and wow, is it a reset, and it helps you get out of that rut. Gratitude, which I know when I was in a rut there, I didn't pick up my journal. I didn't do anything. I just felt like I just wanted to self-sabotage. I didn't pick up my journal. And even like the first few days when I was trying to get out of my rut, I was like writing gratitude and not feeling it, if you know what I mean. So I just kept going with it and kept searching for it, five new things every day. That's what I try to do. I'm not going to go too much into it because I'm sure you know what a gratitude list is, but it's also really good for your dopamine and your serotonin. So that's what you want to do in your brain. Also, visualization. If you're in a rut, right, and you're going through the cycle, when you wake up in the morning, I would suggest just taking a moment to just visualize your day and say an intention, like I intend to feel good. I intend to get these tasks done that make me feel good, and visualize yourself at the end of the day feeling accomplished, and visualize yourself doing the tasks. It'll take a few seconds. If you're in the brave way as well, the everyday meditation is something that I do every day. And it's just a combination of all these things that we're talking about. So it's just like mindfulness, meditation, visualization, gratitude. And before we move on to the next thing, like visualization strengthens the neural pathways in your brain that will make you more inclined to achieve the goal, because it's like you're setting your brain up for success, because you're already telling your brain that you can do it, and you're already telling your brain that you're basically, your brain doesn't know the difference really. So it just goes and feels better, and feels more attainable to achieve those goals once you visualize them. And also something that I always say when I'm in a rut, to just act of kindness and give. When you're feeling like shit, there's no better feeling than actually just going and doing something for someone. Like sending someone a text, saying someone's a best friend, a good friend, send them a lovely message, buy someone a cup of coffee. You know, I love doing that. And it instantly just brings your mood up. It actually is very good for your oxytocin and your dopamine. So act of kindness. And this is something we do in meditations as well. When I'm doing that everyday meditation, like taking a moment to give someone love and kindness and strength in your meditation is kind of like a prayer. I always say, like, did they have it right all along? Praying for people, because it is such a beautiful feeling in your brain to give someone strength, give someone kindness, and to just feel that love for somebody in your meditations, and just be like taking a moment to just feel their love and feel their love. And then you give your energy to them, you give them you give them love, and you give them strength in the meditations. So you can obviously visualize giving acts of kindness. We have a really good meditation called Raise Your Vibration, which is all about giving, in the Briefway Hub as well. Yeah, so the next few things, I'm just rolling these really quickly, aren't I? So obviously meditation, I'm not going to go too much detail into it, because I always feel like I am plugging my own business all the time, and I'm not. I should be, because I'm so proud of it, and I think it's so amazing, and we've created such an amazing platform, and I'm so proud of it. And I actually just wish more of you would believe me when I say this on the podcast, and you would sign up. But anyway, I also feel like when I'm in a rut, sometimes meditation can be difficult. So that's why I'm just putting my hands up. Even as a meditation teacher, sitting with my thoughts when I'm already in negative loop can feel really difficult. So that's why I always try to do like 5 minutes. I'm like, just sit down for 5 minutes. You know, I feel like sometimes I can get into that rut. Anyway, I just go sit down for 5 minutes and just try to manage your monkey mind. Because if you're already spinning in the monkey mind, then your mind is uncontrollable of you. So you just need to take a moment to get in control of your monkey mind. And what meditation does is that front part of your brain, that prefrontal cortex, it kind of turns it off, right? Over time. And it lets you just be in the moment and enjoy. And that's when you'll feel real joyous moments, when you turn off that front, but you turn off future and past, and you just be present in the moment, and you just breathe into it, and it allows you to be very, very in control of your thoughts, and again can just get rid of not get rid of, because you're challenging your negative thoughts in the meditations as well. So negative thoughts come in, you're like, no, that doesn't serve me. I'm going to come back to the meditation. So you challenge your negative thoughts, which brings me to the other thing, which is like your journaling. A journal prompt that I like to do when I'm in a negative cycle is, what's one thing I can do today to improve the situation? What is one thing I can do today to feel good in the situation? And also having like a pleasure plan, like what gives me pleasure, giving your dopamine menu, like even putting on your favorite songs and just having a dance around the kitchen can really, really help you. Putting on a podcast, preferably this podcast, stuff like that. Yeah, small manageable tasks. I always say this. When you're in a negative loop of negative thoughts and you're trying to achieve things and they're huge, then that doesn't work, because then you're not getting a reward if you're going to do something and then you don't finish it. So it's like small manageable tasks. So that's why I'm like, do 5 minutes meditation, go outside and go for a 10-minute walk, 15-minute walk. Even if you just get to the gym and say, I'm going to do 2 or 3 sets, those wee things. Like if you read 2 pages, those are your goals. And then if you read on, amazing. But if you say to yourself, I'm going to go do an hour run, or I'm going to read, a chapter of a book, like, come on now, let's just do small manageable goals, because they will then make you feel good. They will give you your dopamine, and then that will keep you motivated, and hopefully over time that you will get out of your little rut. So that's my things for getting out of a rut, and I hope that these can really, really help you. If you have any more questions, of course, you can just let me know. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do our little quote of the week. I actually was reading Women Living Deliciously, which I'm obsessed with, and it's making me like a little bit angry. Oh my God, I actually went on a rant on TikTok yesterday or the other day And I was like, why are we shaming women for being successful? And I was like, maybe I should stop reading this book. But anyway, that's a good book. And she said this, she talks about like the joy of being, and your real moments of joy are when you don't have your past and future brain on, and you just take the little glimmer of the moments. But there was this one quote from actually Eckhart Tolle that obviously I've read his books before. Okay, hi, we're back. I just got I don't have a Kindle anymore. I have a Kobo, and I'm so sassed, by the way. It's like it's like a version. It obviously is like a Kindle, but like you can highlight in different colors, you can write all over it, and you can also see all the illustrations in the book and the colors. And 10 out of 10, as a reader girly, I'm vibing with it. And if you want to buy someone a present who's a reader, that's a good present. So the quote is, it's by Eckhart Tolle from The Power of Now. And it says, joy can only exist when there is a gap in the stream of your thoughts. And I just love that little quote, because when we're constantly in our brains, negative cycles or whatever, we're not fully present. And then that's when we feel no joy. We feel joy in the present. Like, you feel joy when you're in the moment with your friends. You feel joy when you go for a walk and you're in nature and you're just in the moment. You feel joy when you are just in that moment. And that's kind of what he kind of portrays in that book. He talks about like, we need to get into the power of now. Great book, hard to read, but definitely worth it. Keep going with it. So yeah, the next bit is you say. Sinead Says You Say. And I had a few questions from last week as well. So somebody said, my phone is actually recording this. So I just went and stopped recording and went to look to see what they said. One of them was, my boyfriend is amazing and we have an amazing relationship, but he has a bit of a lack of trust and sometimes closes off because of his past relationships where he lost trust. So this is very common. If you've been in a relationship that someone betrayed you, or even you just don't have those full trust within your relationship, then something that I really thought was beneficial to me when I lost trust in a relationship. I lost trust in a relationship and decided to stay with that person and try to build that trust back. And I was in therapy, and the therapist was like, you need to do a little everyday trust. So build trust in that you have his word. Like, if it's just she talking about a he, but basically you say to him, I'm going to do this and give me all the tasks and trust me with it. And all those little things, like little tiny everyday tasks, that not letting that person down really does build up their trust. Constantly reassuring them, having these conversations over and over and over again. Like, how are you feeling? Are you feeling insecure? What's going on? Like, how are you feeling in the relationship? Even like my boyfriend would, like, he is so good. Like, he always checks up. He's like, well, how do you feel about this situation? Like, how do you feel about this now? Like, talking about it again, even though like they may not want to, but just be like, how are you feeling about that situation? And is there anything that I can do to make it better? Like, there's even times where, let's just say, like, even with me and Sam, or there's people we'll run into and like one of us, or maybe I would have got with them, and like checking up on that other person, like, how do you feel about that? Is everything okay? Do you feel secure? Do you need anything from me? Like, I feel like those little things really, really help, like those attentive. So I would just say, like, being really attentive to him, and eventually over time he will begin to trust you and be able to be completely vulnerable with you. And I understand that he probably doesn't feel vulnerable because he's like obviously closed off and a wee bit scared and he pulls away, but just letting him know that everything's gonna be okay and you're not gonna leave him. And especially making sure that you don't threaten the relationship when you have fights. Like, sometimes that can make people feel fear and close up. That is it from today, and thank you so much. And if you've got any questions and you want to get a question answered, then please just send me a DM. And I actually would just love if you could maybe follow the podcast, subscribe to the podcast. Again, we're having our Sydney live show on the 15th of January. It's a great Christmas present for everyone as well. If you're over in Ireland or England, you can buy it for your friends in Sydney for their Christmas present. That's pretty much it. So hopefully this helps you get out of it. Thank you and good night.